free place to work. You can notice we have some space around here on the floor. Say good morning, Trash.
Good morning, Trash.
Even though it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
It's getting there.
We had a slow takeoff today, but hey, that's okay. Why don't you tell the folks a little bit about what we're going to be doing?
All right. Now, you heard me say before, and I'll say it again, doesn't matter what kind of job you're doing, if you've done it 1,000 times or not, keep this baby close to you, with arm's reach if you can. It's easy to refer to. Maybe you forget something, maybe something comes up you're not really sure. This is going to tell you.
And the other thing that I found it particularly helpful with the other day when we were starting to gather up all the stuff for this was there's conversion tables in there, and there's a lot of stuff about the fluids. You're going to need 12 ounces of this, 10 ounces of that, because you'll find yourself getting to a dealer or getting to a parts store, and how do you know how much primary fluid goes in there?
Don't know
and a lot of the guys, they don't know unless it's their bike, and they'll say, well, what year is it? And I don't know. This bike's like about 14 different years, all kinds of different stuff put together. You can't say this is the paperwork says it's an 86, but there's not a lot of 86 left on here except the frame.
There's a wealth of information in these manuals, you guys. As Warren said, there's conversion tables, and even there's sections in here to tell you how to use certain tools. So get yourself one if you don't have one. If you have one, sit down some night after dinner or while you're eating your dinner or whatever, get your feet up on the dog and have a look through this thing, because there's information in there you would never imagine that would be. So the other thing is, some guys have a tendency to want to put their tools in their back pocket. That's all right if you want to do that, but I try not to do it because I have a tendency to forget they're there. I'll sit down on this beautiful seat with this screwdriver, and the next thing you're in your seat. So keep that in mind. Let's go to work.
Right. Well, we have the oil draining into a pan, but we've run into a little bit of a problem here. As you can see, this nut over here is spring-loaded in there, and so we got to clear the handlebar to get it out of there. So we're going to pull that off, and I'm going to sort of hang on to it, and then Trash is going to pull it out, and then we'll put it back on real quick. And so, hey, it's starting out with an unexpected surprise, so we'll get rocking and rolling on this. It ain't no big thing. And there, look at the lovely, lovely consistency of this fork oil. I mean, it's kind of like a cross between gorilla pee and rhino snot. Or maybe those two mixed together. That's more like it. So you can see what we've done here is we've loosened the handlebars in order to be able to get that cap out of the fork tubes. You'll see that this is the top of a spacer that goes down on the spring. You can see how that springs up and down. This sleeping bag is here to protect the tank from dings, bangs, and dropping tools and all that stuff. We've got all the fluid drained out of it. Now, according to Trash, and I have a tendency to believe him on this one, it's keenly important that you actually pop the top. Now, you're going to do that anyway to put fluid in there, but you got to do it to relieve the pressure in the tube and get the last little drop of that stuff drained out of there. So make sure you do that, though I don't know how you'd put fluid in it if you did anything else. So anyway, it's kind of one of those things that just sort of takes care of itself. But it's looking good. Man, that stuff that was in there is looking foul. From what I hear about the 30 weight that we're going to use, it'll give me a stiffer setup or a less boing, what I call boing on these longer front ends. They kind of bounce around a little bit. This will make it a little firmer, and that's a good deal for me. I think that'll work good. And Trash is, as you can see, doing exactly what we were talking to you all about. He's consulting with the book. All right, well, we've got the new fluid in there. We put 10.2 ounces of fluid in there per the spec in the book. And as you can see, Trash right here is bolting down what is this called? A cap or
this
cap
is the
bolt or fork cap bolt or whatever?
Compression cap, some people call it, because this on this model, all right, this cap actually, we'll show you on the next one when we get it out, actually is sitting right on top of the spring that's inside the front fork.
Yep.
All right, and this is what holds compression on that spring. This is nothing but a big slug with an O-ring on it, kind of like me. So
you're a slug with
this
O-ring?
Actually holds compression. Unlike the newer model of forks, which are of a different design. I think after 1990, the compression plug stays in place, and all you take off when you remove the top is a plug, and all
just
that's
a little
for is
drainage
to allow you to put fluid in it. That's all the hell it's for. So,
got it.
and you never release spring compression on the newer ones.
Good idea. Let's get on it.
Let's finish it up here.
All righty. I know.
All right. All right, I got all of the slack out of this front end I could.
All right, let me
move that bottom tree up pretty good, John.
All right, I'm filming this here. I'm going to do my little thing here. So I had to go up. This is Warren. So I had to go up to the hardware store because as we pulled one of those fork caps out, one of the O-rings went winging across the room. It may have been snapped for years. We don't know how long that thing's been broken, but it was definitely no good. So I decided to head on out on Sunday afternoon up to Checker Auto Parts. I figured that'd be my best bet for getting an O-ring on Sunday afternoon. Be Checker, so I go up to Checker Auto Parts. There's this guy behind the counter. He must have been all of 8 years old, and he's stuffing Mexican food into his face. He's eating a big giant burrito, and I go to him and I say, "Hey man, you got any O-rings?" He goes, "O-rings? Oh, like in a package of O-rings?" And I said, "Yeah, like a package of O-rings, but I need an O-ring for this cap." And I pull out the cap. He goes, "What's that for?" And I said, "Well, it's a custom Harley part. You got anything that fits this?" And he goes, "Oh, maybe in here." And he points to the junk bin. You know that bin that they got full of Korean parts, and they got everything's like $2. He says, "Yeah, I seen some O-rings in there, so that's where we'd have them. They'd be in that kit in there, man." So I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I'm going to dig through this pile of junk parts that they've got. It's like got the dollar hammer and the 50-cent screwdriver and all that really bad stuff." So I dig through, and sure enough, I come up with this crappy box of really small O-rings, and I go, "Buddy, this ain't going to work. I mean, it's something like this big." He goes, "Oh, sorry, man. I don't think we got anything like that." And I'm like, "This is a car place. This is Checker. You got to have something that fits this." So he goes to his boss and he says, "Hey, we got any like O-rings? I got them in the little thing over there in the closeout bin, but that's all I could find." And his boss goes, "Right behind the counter, there's a giant tray full of them. Why don't you just pull them out and look through it?" So once again, perseverance holds true. I went through and found the exact O-ring I needed, but of course, I couldn't just buy one. I had to buy the package of 4. So now I have O-rings for life on the fork tube caps, and the guy who works at the Checker now knows where they keep the O-rings. All right, well, we've had a lot of fun pulling things off this bike. Just thought I'd take a stop and show you where we're at. That's where the oil filter goes. You can just see that it just screws on. You got to put a little oil around the rubber edge of the oil filter. Put a pan underneath there. We've already drained all the oil out from the rear of the bike underneath the where would you describe that thing as?
Frame.
Underneath the frame, but it's kind of got
oil tank.
It has an oil tank with a hose in there that lets it go. And then you can see there's some real crap floating around in this oil here, man. What is that, Trash? Crap. This is genuine
sludge.
Motorcycle sludge here floating around in there. It's been about 2 or 3 years since this bike had the oil change, and it's just been kind of sitting around. So it's got a lot of crap in it. So we're going to put a brand new filter on right there. This is the little magnet thing that we put on there. I don't know if this is worth a dime, but we put that on there, and there you go. All right.
There you have it.